I'll never forget walking into TechVista Solutions on a Tuesday morning, dressed in my oldest jeans and a plain black polo, watching 30 people deliberately avoid making eye contact with me. They thought I was there to fix their servers. I was actually there to buy their company. Let me back up. Before we continue, if you've ever been underestimated by someone who thought they were better than you, hit that subscribe button. And drop a comment telling me about a time you proved them wrong. We've all been there. My name is Vincent McCaw. I'm 42 years old. I run a private equity firm that specializes in acquiring mid-sized tech companies with great products and terrible leadership. It's a specific niche, but turns out there's no shortage of brilliant engineers being held hostage by incompetent executives who wouldn't know good code if it compiled itself and sent them a thank you note. My father taught me everything I needed to know about reading people. He spent 30 years working in a factory, came to this country with $200 and a dream that his son wouldn't have to break his back for men who treated him like he was invisible. Every night he'd come home, shoulders slumped, and tell me the same thing: you learn a man's character by watching how he treats the waiter, not the CEO. That's why I always scout companies undercover before acquisitions. No suit. No entourage. No, I'm here from the investment firm announcement. Just me, a laptop bag, and the kind of clothes that make people assume I'm there to troubleshoot their Wi-Fi. It's my firm's signature move. See how they treat people they think don't matter. You'd be amazed what people reveal when they think you're nobody. TechVista Solutions was a $50 million SaaS company on our radar for 8 months. Impressive technology, serving logistics companies across the country, the same industry my father worked in, actually. But their Glassdoor reviews were a horror show. Anonymous employees describing a toxic boys club, where leadership hoarded credit and junior staff got pizza parties instead of raises. Perfect acquisition target. This was my first solo deal. My partners were watching. My reputation was on the line. I had 72 hours to recommend, buy or pass. I arrived at 11:45 a.m. intentionally before lunch. That's when you see the real dynamics. The receptionist barely looked up. "You the IT guy?" I smiled. "I'm here to observe." She pointed to a corner conference room. "Set up wherever. Don't bother anyone important." Important. That word hung in the air like a slap. I set up my laptop in the corner, watching. The office had that open-plan startup aesthetic: exposed brick, standing desks, a ping-pong table nobody used because everyone was too stressed. 30 employees, heads down, grinding. The energy was tense. Anxious. Then I saw them. Derek Morrison, VP of Sales. Mid-40s, loud voice, expensive watch. He was complaining to a junior rep about incompetent vendors who can't follow simple instructions. The rep nodded, terrified. Patricia Hayes, CFO. Designer glasses, cold smile. She walked past an employee's desk and said loudly to no one in particular, "God, I miss when people had work ethic." Samantha Rodriguez, head of HR. Laughing along with Patricia's comment instead of, doing her actual job of preventing hostile work environments. And the junior employees, I counted 18 of them, looked beaten down. Exhausted. The kind of tired that comes from working hard for people who don't see you. At 12:15 p.m., Derek stood up and announced, "Team lunch at Morton's. Leadership only, we need to celebrate closing the Brennan deal." I watched 12 executives grab their coats, laughing loud. I watched 18 junior employees sink lower in their chairs. And then Derek looked directly at me, the guy he thought was IT support, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "You can eat in the break room. There's vending machines." The entire office went silent. That's when I knew, this wasn't just an acquisition anymore. This was personal. The silence after Derek's comment was suffocating. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They just stared at their screens like if they made themselves small enough, they could disappear. I nodded slowly. Vending machines. Got it. Derek didn't even acknowledge me. Just turned to Patricia and said, "Let's take my car. I just detailed the Tesla." They walked out. All 12 of them. Laughing, planning drinks after lunch, completely oblivious to the 18 people they just excluded like we were furniture. I walked to the break room. It smelled like burnt coffee and forgotten dreams. The vending machine hummed like a dying refrigerator. I bought a stale granola bar and sat at the plastic table, alone. Then, slowly, the junior employees started trickling in. Lunch boxes from home. Tupperware containers. One guy had a peanut butter sandwich in a Ziploc bag. Nobody was eating out. Nobody could afford to. A woman in her mid-20s sat across from me. She had dark circles under her eyes and a company hoodie that looked 3 years old. "Sorry about that," she said quietly. "Derek's. He's like that." "How long have you worked here?" I asked. 3 years. "I'm Sarah. Software engineer." "Marcus," I said. "How often do they do the leadership-only lunches?" Sarah laughed bitterly. "Every week. Sometimes twice. They say it's for strategic planning. Really, it's just them celebrating deals we built the product for." A guy next to her chimed in. "I'm James. Senior Dev. I've been here 4 years. Never been invited once." Another woman joined us. "Maya. Customer success. I handle 90% of the client relationships, but Patricia takes credit in board meetings. Says it's her strategic relationship management." And then Kwan, operations manager. "We haven't had raises in 2 years. Derek just bought a Tesla. His 3rd car." I listened. I asked questions. I took mental notes. My father spent 30 years being invisible to people like Derek. He came home exhausted, undervalued, disrespected. I built my wealth so no one could make me feel that way again. But watching Sarah eat her packed lunch while leadership feasts on $200 steaks. Some things are more important than money. At 1:30 p.m., I excused myself. Need to check some servers. They still thought I was IT support. I walked through the executive offices. Empty. They wouldn't be back until 2:30, probably buzzed from drinks. Derek's desk, a printout for a leadership retreat to Cabo, executive team only. February 12th to 16th. $42,000 budget. Patricia's desk, a budget document showing executive bonuses up 40% while employee salaries were frozen. Highlighted section, cost savings from salary freeze, $340,000 annually. Samantha's desk, the HR director's desk, had a stack of resignation letters. I counted them. 12. In the past 6 months. 12 people had quit, and nobody in leadership cared enough to ask why. I took photos of everything. Quietly. Carefully. At 2:30 p.m., leadership returned. Loud, laughing, smelling like expensive wine and entitlement. Derek saw me still there. "Server problems taking a while? We need this fixed today." I looked up calmly. "Just finishing my assessment. Should have results by tomorrow." "Whatever," Derek said, dismissive. "Just don't break anything." Sarah was watching from her desk. She saw something in my expression. Something that made her pause. I walked to my car at 5 p.m. Sat in the driver's seat. Pulled out my phone and texted my partner. "TechVista is a go for acquisition. But we're doing this MY way." He responded immediately, "What's the play?" I typed, "Complete leadership replacement. Day 1. Every single one of them." Then I added, "And I want to deliver the news personally." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Sarah's face, the way she'd looked at me with pity when Derek dismissed me. She had no idea I controlled a $2 billion acquisition fund. She had no idea that in 72 hours, I'd be her boss. And Derek, Patricia, and Samantha had no idea their world was about to collapse. But they would. Very soon. Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. I walked back into TechVista wearing the same outfit, jeans, black polo, laptop bag. The universal costume of someone you don't need to acknowledge. Derek barely glanced up. "You again? Make it quick. We're busy." "Perfect. Stay distracted." I told the receptionist I was doing a follow-up security assessment. She waved me through without asking for credentials. Nobody asks IT for credentials. I spent the morning conducting security check-ins with employees. Real goal. Document everything. Sarah's story hit me first. We sat in a conference room. She thought I was checking her laptop for malware. "Can I ask you something?" I said. "That algorithm everyone keeps mentioning, the one that makes the platform handle high-volume logistics, who built that?" Sarah looked uncomfortable. "I did. Took me 8 months. Nights, weekends." "And who presents it to clients?" "Derek." Her voice went flat. "He calls it a team effort led by visionary leadership." "I'm never mentioned. Why do you stay?" She stared at her hands. "Student loans. Medical bills for my mom. I've been applying elsewhere, but I love the work. I just hate the environment." James's story was worse. "Last product launch," he said, "I worked 80-hour weeks. Slept in the office twice. My wife begged me to quit." "What did you get for it?" Leadership got $150,000 bonuses for successful launch. We got a pizza party and an email that said, "Thanks for your dedication." He pulled up his calendar. Showed me a meeting titled James Annual Review, cancelled with a note from Derek, postponed indefinitely. Budget constraints. "That was 18 months ago," James said. "Never rescheduled." Maya's story made me physically angry. "The Brennan deal, the one they're celebrating?" She pulled up email chains. Client was leaving. Technical issues, poor communication. I worked through the weekend, fixed everything personally, stayed on the phone with their CTO for 6 hours. And Patricia told the board? Maya showed me the board presentation. Patricia's slide, strategic relationship management secured this critical renewal. My direct intervention salvaged a $2 million annual contract. Maya's name appeared nowhere. "She didn't even thank me," Maya whispered. Just forwarded the client's praise email to Derek and said, "Another win for the team." At 12:15 p.m., it happened again. Derek stood up. "Leadership lunch at Ruth's Chris. Let's go celebrate another record quarter." I was standing near the printer. Derek walked past me, talking to Patricia. "These entitled kids expect raises just for showing up," he said, not bothering to lower his voice. "My generation understood you earn loyalty." Patricia laughed. "The day they can replace us is the day we worry. Until then, milk this place dry." Samantha, the HR director, chimed in. "I've got 6 more resignation letters this week. Who cares? Plenty of desperate kids will take minimum salary." I had my phone recording. Legal in this state. Every word captured. They walked out, leaving 20 employees behind. At 2 p.m., I watched Derek pull Sarah into his office. She emerged 10 minutes later, visibly shaking. Tears in her eyes. I caught her in the hallway. "Are you okay?" He denied my promotion. Again. 3rd year in a row. Her voice cracked. Said I'm not leadership material. "Why do you stay?" "I can't afford to leave until I find something else. Bills, you know." I made a decision. "Sarah, I need to tell you something. I'm not IT support." She looked confused. "I'm Vincent McCaw. I run the private equity firm evaluating this company for acquisition." Her eyes went wide. "You're the Vincent McCaw? I read about your last deal in TechCrunch. I need your help. I need documentation. Who built what, who deserves credit, who's been screwed over. What are you planning?" I looked at Derek's office door. "Justice. But I need evidence. Will you help me?" Sarah stared at Derek's closed door. Then back at me. "Where do I start?" Wednesday night through Thursday, Sarah became my intelligence operative. She sent me Slack messages showing Derek taking credit for her algorithm in client presentations. Timestamped code commits proving she'd built the entire core feature set while Derek was on vacation in Maui. James provided Git history showing his team had architected 90% of the product features Derek claimed as leadership vision. Maya forwarded email chains, dozens of them, where she'd saved client relationships, only to watch Patricia claim credit in board reports. Kwan, the operations manager, had access to financial records. What he shared made my blood boil. Executive compensation breakdown. Derek, $280,000 base plus $150,000 bonus plus company Tesla. Patricia, $260,000 base plus $120,000 bonus plus leadership development stipend, $40,000. Samantha, $190,000 base plus $80,000 bonus. Employee compensation. Engineers, 3 to 5 years experience, $75,000 to $95,000, frozen for 2 years. Customer success, $68,000, no commission structure. Operations, $72,000, no raises since 2021. But the smoking gun came Thursday morning. Kwan sent me board meeting minutes from 8 months ago. The document that would end Derek's career. Excerpt from March 2024 board meeting. Derek Morrison, VP Sales. I'm proposing a lean workforce strategy. Keep salaries low, increase executive compensation to retain top talent, maximize EBITDA before eventual exit. We can run this operation lean for 18 to 24 months, pump the numbers, then sell for maximum multiple. Frankly, if junior employees burn out, we replace them. The technology is what buyers want, not the people. Board Member Wilson, what about retention risks? Patricia Hayes, CFO, manageable. Most employees are mid-career with financial obligations. They can't afford to leave without another job lined up. We have leverage. They had planned this. They had strategically decided to extract maximum value while burning through human lives like disposable resources. I sat in my home office Thursday night, reviewing 157 pages of evidence. Slack messages, emails, financial records, employee testimonials, audio recording of leadership mocking their own team. My coffee had gone cold hours ago. I didn't care. I wasn't tired. I was focused. I thought about my father. How he'd come home from the factory, shoulders slumped, dignity stripped by men who thought they were better than him. They treat us like machines, he'd say. Like we don't have families. Like we don't matter. I picked up my phone and called my partner. Tomorrow we make the offer, I said. Full asking price. Cash. Close in 30 days. That's aggressive, he replied. What's the hurry? I looked at the photo on my desk, my father in his factory uniform, smiling despite everything. Because 18 people in that company deserve better. And 3 people deserve what's coming to them. You're going to clean house? Every single one. If you've ever wanted to expose a toxic boss, hit that subscribe button. Drop karma in the comments if you believe they always get what's coming. Friday morning, 9 a.m. My lawyers emailed TechVista's board of directors. Offer, $52 million, 4% premium, all cash, 30-day close. One condition, buyer reserves right to audit all management contracts and organizational structure post-acquisition. By 10:30 a.m., accepted. Derek, Patricia, and Samantha had no idea. The board hadn't told them yet. I walked into TechVista at 11 a.m. Derek saw me setting up in the conference room. Jesus Christ, are you still here? How long does IT work take? I smiled. Just wrapping up my final assessment. Well, hurry up. Some of us have actual work to do. At 2 p.m., the board sent a company-wide email. TechVista Solutions has been acquired by McCaw Equity Partners. All hands meeting at 4 p.m. to meet new ownership. I watched Derek read the email. Watched him smirk. Probably some faceless investors, he said to Patricia. Nothing changes. We run this place. Patricia nodded. New owners means new bonuses. We should negotiate for more equity. Sarah caught my eye from across the room. She knew. She was trying not to smile. At 3:45 p.m., I sat in the conference room, reviewing my notes. At 3:58 p.m., employees filed in. Nervous. Uncertain. Derek, Patricia, and Samantha sat in the front row. Confident. Entitled. At 4 p.m., the board member stood up. I'd like to introduce you to your new owner, Vincent McCaw. I walked in. Derek's face went through 5 stages of grief in 3 seconds. Confusion. Recognition. Horror. Denial. Panic. Wait, he whispered to Patricia. That's the IT guy. I took the podium. Made direct eye contact with Derek. Good afternoon. Some of you might remember me from this week. I was assessing your IT infrastructure. Derek's face went pale. Actually, I was assessing something far more important, your culture. The room went dead silent. And what I found was unacceptable. I let the silence hang in the air. Derek shifted in his seat. Patricia's confident smile had vanished. This company, I continued, has brilliant engineers, dedicated client managers, talented operations staff. I clicked to the first slide. Employee turnover, 40%. But you've been held back by leadership that values extraction over people. Second slide. Executive compensation versus employee salaries. The graph looked obscene. Leadership retreats, $400,000 annually. Employee development budget, $0. Derek stood up. This is completely inappropriate. Sit down, Derek. The command in my voice cut through the room like a knife. Derek sat. I'm not finished. I clicked to the next slide. The board meeting minutes from March. Run this operation lean, pump the numbers, then sell. If employees burn out, we replace them. I looked directly at Derek. Those are your words. From the board meeting 8 months ago. The room gasped. Junior employees turned to stare at Derek. You planned this, I said. You strategically decided to underpay your team, overwork them, and extract maximum value before selling. You treated human beings like disposable resources. Patricia stood up. You're taking that out of context. I have the full recording. Would you like me to play it? She sat down. Effective tomorrow morning, there will be organizational changes. Some of you will receive the promotions and equity you've earned. Some of you will finally have input into how this company runs. I paused. And some of you will be leaving. Derek's jaw clenched. You can't just. I can. And I will. Derek Morrison, Patricia Hayes, Samantha Rodriguez, you'll receive termination notices tomorrow at 8 a.m. Security will escort you out. Samantha's face went white. Patricia looked like she might be sick. And in the back of the room, Sarah started crying. Not from sadness. From relief. The following Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Derek walked into the building at 8:03, coffee in hand, still thinking he could fight this. My assistant intercepted him. Mr. McCaw would like to see you in the conference room. Derek smirked. Is he going to apologize for that stunt? Something like that. He walked into the conference room. I sat at the head of the table. Employment lawyer on my right. New HR consultant on my left. 3 documents in front of the empty chair. Derek sat down. What's this about? I slid the first document across. Your termination letter. He laughed. Actually laughed. You can't fire me. I built this company. I slid the second document. Sarah McCaw built the core algorithm. James Rivera architected the platform. Maya Patel saved your largest client. You took credit. His smile died. This is insane. The board will. The board approved this yesterday. I slid the third document. Recorded conversation from last Wednesday. Your quote, milk this place dry. Ring a bell. Derek's hands shook as he read the transcript of his own words. You set me up. No, Derek. I gave you a week to show me who you really were. You showed me. I stood up. Security will escort you out. 20 minutes to clear your desk. Your laptop, phone, and access cards will be confiscated. Your non-compete is in full effect. Derek's voice cracked. Who the hell do you think you are? I leaned across the table. I'm the IT guy you wouldn't have lunch with. Turns out, I'm also the man who just took everything you thought you built. I opened the conference room door. 2 security guards stood waiting. Get out of my building. Patricia was next. Smoother. More composed. Until she wasn't. This is a mistake, she said, scanning her termination letter. "I've managed finances here for 5 years." I opened my laptop, pulled up the forensic accounting report. "You've frozen employee salaries while increasing executive bonuses by 185%. That's not financial management. That's extraction. That's called business. No. That's called breach of fiduciary duty." I showed her the turnover report. 40% annual turnover because you refuse to invest in retention. Do you know how much it costs to replace an engineer? She had no answer. "I'm promoting Kwan to CFO. He actually has ethics." Patricia grabbed her bag, walked to the door, then turned back. "You're going to regret this." "No, Patricia. You're going to regret underestimating the guy you thought was IT support." Samantha walked in already crying. "I was just doing my job." "Your job was to protect employees. Instead, you enabled a hostile work environment." I showed her the stack of resignation letters. 12 in 6 months. You called them desperate kids willing to take minimum salary. Her face crumpled. "I'm sorry." Sarah wasn't sorry when she cried after Derek denied her promotion. "You saw that. You did nothing." I stood up. "You're fired. Effective immediately." 9 a.m. The promotions. Sarah walked into the conference room terrified. "Am I in trouble?" I smiled. First genuine smile of the morning. "Sit down, Sarah." I slid the offer letter across the table. She read it. Blinked. "Read it again. VP of Engineering. $185,000 plus equity. This is yours. You built the core algorithm. You've led the team in everything but title. Now you have the title, the compensation, and the equity." She started crying. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll accept." "Yes. God, yes. Thank you." "Don't thank me. You earned this 3 years ago. I'm just correcting the record." She wiped her eyes, laughed through tears. "I watched you last week. When Derek called you IT support and told you to eat in the break room. I felt so bad for you." "I know. I saw it in your face. And now you're my boss. And you'll never treat me like Derek did." "That's a promise." James became Director of Product. Maya became VP of Client Success. Kwan became CFO. At 10 a.m., I called the all-hands meeting. The energy was electric. Derek's desk was empty. Patricia's office cleared out. Samantha's files being boxed. I stood at the front. "Good morning. Derek Morrison, Patricia Hayes, and Samantha Rodriguez are no longer with the company. Terminated for cause this morning." Murmurs rippled through the room. "Effective immediately. Sarah McCaw is your VP of Engineering. James Rivera is Director of Product Development. Maya Patel is VP of Client Success. Kwan Nguyen is your CFO." The room erupted in applause. I raised my hand for quiet. "All salary freezes are lifted. Comprehensive compensation review over the next 30 days. If you've been underpaid, that ends now." More applause. "Employee development budget. $500,000 annually. Training, conferences, certifications. If it helps you grow, we fund it. No more leadership only anything. Lunches, retreats, celebrations. We celebrate together or not at all." Standing ovation. Sarah hugged James. Maya hugged Kwan. 3 empty chairs in the back where Derek, Patricia, and Samantha used to sit. Justice doesn't always come fast. But when it comes, it's beautiful. I left the office that night around 7 p.m. Walked past Derek's empty desk one last time. His nameplate was already gone. The Tesla parking spot had been reassigned. I didn't feel triumph. Didn't feel revenge. Just felt right. 6 months later. Employee turnover, 40% down to 8%. Employee satisfaction, 3.2 out of 5 up to 4.7. Revenue growth, up 35%. Client retention, 76% to 94%. Glassdoor rating, 2.8 stars to 4.6 stars. Every Friday at noon, the entire company has lunch together. Catered. Everyone invited. Last Friday, a new intern sat next to me. "I heard a story," he said, "that you worked here undercover before buying the company?" I smiled. "Something like that. And you fired the entire leadership team?" "I replaced leaders who'd forgotten what leadership means." "What does it mean?" I thought about my father. 30 years invisible to men like Derek. It means the way you treat people when you think no one important is watching tells you everything about who you really are. And it means power is a responsibility, not a privilege. He nodded. "I'm really glad I got this internship." "So am I. Welcome to TechVista." Last month, James sent me an email. Subject line, "Thank you." The email was one sentence. "My wife says I'm happy again. She wanted me to tell you that." I framed it. It sits on my desk next to my father's photo. 2 weeks ago, I ran into Derek at a coffee shop. He saw me. Our eyes met. He looked away. Walked out without ordering. I thought about saying something. Rubbing it in. But I didn't need to. The way he couldn't make eye contact said everything. Derek's LinkedIn now says, "Exploring opportunities." Has been for 8 months. His network connections dropped from 2,400 to 890. Word travels fast in this industry. Patricia works as a consultant 3 levels below her previous role. No direct reports. No equity. No bonuses. Just hourly billing and a damaged reputation that follows her to every interview. Samantha left the industry entirely. Last I heard, she's selling real estate in Arizona. Far from any HR department she could weaponize against employees. And me. I'm building the company my father would have been proud to work for. Here's what I learned. People will always reveal who they are if you give them the chance. Derek, Patricia, and Samantha thought I was nobody, so they showed me exactly who they were. Cruel. Entitled. Dismissive. But Sarah, James, Maya, and Kwan? They treated me like a human being when they thought I was just IT support. That's character. My father used to say, "Dignity isn't given by others, it lives in how you carry yourself." He was right. But he forgot one thing. Sometimes, dignity also lives in making sure the people who treat others like they're invisible finally understand what it feels like. If you've ever been excluded, underestimated, or treated like you didn't matter, this one's for you. Drop justice in the comments if you believe karma comes for everyone eventually. And hit that subscribe button. Because I've got more stories about people who thought they were untouchable. Until they weren't. The way you treat people when you think no one important is watching? That's not just your character. That's your future.